Monday morning quarterback. I'm Len Clark with Irish 101. Evan Sharpley, former quarterback of the University of Notre Dame, on the line with this. And Evan, not the type of Saturday Irish fans we're looking forward to.
No, it certainly was a poor showing by the Fighting Irish, and one of those games that they're going to be probably kicking themselves that they had prepared and then executed a little bit better. You got to give a lot of credit to Miami; they played very well, but certainly some plays on the field Saturday night that Notre Dame's gonna want back, and now you kind of got to pick up the pieces. That national championship or playoff probably is out of the picture at this point, unless all hell breaks loose over the next couple of weeks. And, being at Notre Dame, you're not playing for a conference championship. It's national championships only. So they gotta pull things together. They've got two more games. They need to finish strong and then, hopefully close out the season with a win in a bowl game.
Evan, you're exactly right. This is a loss, not only on Saturday night, but that might have some carryover effect. As you said, Notre Dame is not playing for a conference championship, and it could be very demoralizing to this team. But going back to the game, what can you pinpoint as to being the impetus that gave Miami the edge and basically had them dominate that football game?
Well, you have to look at the turnovers. I was a little, I think I was interested, kind of Notre Dame's game plan offensively early. I thought they would stick to the run up a little bit longer, but didn't have a lot of success on the ground early, and kind of went with more of a pass first mentality. And Brandon Wimbush made a couple of poor decisions that resulted in some turnovers, and Ian Book had one as well. You obviously you point at those turnovers, and that was really what led to the runaway game. I thought the defense they made some adjustments and put together some stops in the second half, but by then, you needed a lot of help. You had to create some turnovers, you had to get some plays on special teams and some explosive plays on offense, and none of those really occurred.
So where do you go from here?
Well, that's the tough part is, when your one goal is gone now, it's going to come down to the leadership on this team and trying to finish this season strong. It's been a bounce back year. I don't think too many people thought that they would be going into the Miami game with one loss, and that one loss being to a Georgia team that until this last weekend was ranked number one. They have a lot to be proud of. But what you want to make sure that you have happen here is during this week, you don't let it get worse. You don't want to turn this loss into two more. So it's going to be important for the leaders on this team to make sure that the preparation is back on point this week, because you have a Navy team that, historically and especially over the last 10 years has given Notre Dame some problems. So they're going to have to come out ready. It's going to be senior day. It's going to be emotional for a lot of guys playing their last game at Notre Dame Stadium. So that's going to be something that they're going to, they're going to have to make sure that their emotions are in check and they go out there and perform 4 quarters.
Monday morning quarterback with Evan Sharpley on the line. And Evan, do we see progress by Notre Dame? Are they a team that is improving, or is Miami just that much better of a football team?
Well, Miami was a tough team for me to figure out, and kind of throughout the week, I really wasn't sure how to describe them. And they played down to the level of some of their opponents, and there was a number of discussions. And I said, and I picked Notre Dame to win. I had them by 7 points. But Miami's one of those teams with the young talent that they have and the excitement that they've created there. It's they had the talent, the athleticism. They brought it, and they kind of, they really, not that they played above um, their expectations or their talent level, but from what we've seen all year to that game, they certainly raised their level of play on a big stage, and that's what you have to do in those moments. When the whole nation's watching and you're trying to build a resume to be one of those Final Four teams, you want to raise your level of play, and that's what the Hurricanes did, and Notre Dame didn't do that.
Evan, I was thinking about you watching the game, especially when Brian Kelly pulled Brandon Wimbush for Ian Book, and I was wondering what was going through your mind at the time.
I didn't like the move personally. It's hard to argue at that point. Brandon hadn't done a lot of great things But he also was a big part of what had got you to that point in the season. And it's no offense to Ian. I love his skill set. I love what he brings to the table too. But in my mind, it sent a message of panic at that time of the game, and I don't think that was necessarily the message you want to send. Sure, things weren't going great, but he hadn't pulled the trigger like that prior the entire year, and obviously they hadn't been down by that much before. But I thought it sent a little bit of the wrong message, and I don't know if it would have mattered either way. Brandon would have stayed in the game versus Ian. He provided a little spark up until the throw, which he obviously would want back. So I don't know if it would have mattered either way. But I think at that time, at least from my perspective as a quarterback, I would have been pretty frustrated if I'm the starting quarterback and that happens. But from the backup's point of view, Ian, he wanted to go in and provide a spark, and that mentality, I think he tried to embrace. And both guys want those throws back. They're not trying to go out there and do those things, but their level of execution obviously has to increase if this offense wants to take some steps forward as far as being able to consistently pass the ball.
Does this cause a confidence problem with Brandon Wimbush because he might be looking over his shoulder? If he makes a mistake, he might be pulled?
I don't know about that. I mean, he should be looking over his shoulder. He probably should be looking over his shoulder the entire year, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. You want the backup to be pushing the starter. It'll be interesting to see what happens over the course of the next few games. If it becomes kind of a two-horse race between Brandon and Ian as far as who's playing, I would be surprised if there's a short leash. But it obviously could occur again. Now that the team is kind of out of the discussion as far as the college football playoffs go. I don't really know the direction of what's going to happen leading into the off season. So I'll be paying pretty close attention over the course of the next few games to kind of get a feel and a sense for with the coaching staff, what they're trying to accomplish with the development of both those guys.
Evan, the final question is, I'm not a coach. I don't second guess the coaches. But the one constant thing that we hear in the press conference is that we need to coach better. I'm uncomfortable with that. It's, you're paying somebody a lot of money to be at the best program in college football. Is that a relevant excuse?
Well, first off, I don't know if I would say that Notre Dame right now is the best program in college football. There's a number of other programs that would toss their hat in there, and Notre Dame hasn't won a national championship in several decades. And to a certain extent, that's a little bit of coach speak. I think the opposite spectrum of that would be, tossing players under the bus. So the easier answer to say is we need to do a better job coaching. So it's a little bit of a facade, I guess, if you would say. We don't really know what's going on behind closed doors and what those conversations are like. Certainly the coaching staff, they're going to take the responsibility and the onus for the preparation of their team, and rightly so, because the buck stops with the head coach. And the players certainly feel bad. I can say that from my own experience that we're not trying to go out there and lose. We're not trying to go out there and get our butts kicked, like they did on Saturday night. And it's frustrating at times because I can guarantee you that going through this past week, the team thought that their preparation was up to a certain standard. They probably felt pretty comfortable with the game plan. They felt comfortable with the preparation that they had, and you go out there and sometimes you get smacked in the mouth, and it's unfortunate that it happens in a national stage like that. So it does. The song and dance of "We have to coach better" does get old. But I don't know if there's a better answer to say publicly without I guess tossing somebody under the bus, whether it be a coach or a player.
Well, we know that there will be a lot of questions surrounding the program for the next week, but the best thing to do is just come out and play the type of football they have been playing up until the Miami game against Navy on Saturday.
Yeah, and in my mind too, Notre Dame, again, it's compared to last year, the culture is different. So there's certainly steps in the right direction, and if Brian Kelly can build a program that's consistently winning 9 or 10 games, I think that's a very strong program at a school like Notre Dame. The 12-0 seasons in my mind are a lightning strike, and they were a couple of plays away with the Georgia game, and and being an undefeated team going into Miami, and like we've talked about so far today, a number of plays that Notre Dame would want back, especially early in the game, and who knows how that game goes. So, the strength of the program, I think, will be tested, and we'll see really where that strength is next year and the following year after that. Is it lasting success? Is it 9 to 10 wins per season? Or are you seeing a fall off where you're in that 8-7 range more times than not?
He's Evan Sharpley. This is Monday Morning Quarterback on Irish 101.